She's the friend who'll show up with coffee or wine when you need it most. But probably wine. Good vibes are on the way. Welcome to Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Hi, it's Erin. Welcome to Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I love having you here. So after looking at the calendar, I'm realizing that Father's Day is happening this weekend. And I thought that it would be a good thing to share with you some amazing memories that I have made along the way and really funny stories with my dad. And I hope that it inspires you to make great ones with yours while you can, because that is something that you can take with you for the rest of your life. So back in 2008, my dad, my sister, and I all went to Ireland, the motherland, for the first time. We had never been there before, but both of my dad's parents came over on the boat, that huge boat that apparently all of our ancestors were smushed together on. And we didn't know family over there, but we had found some. And so we were going to meet up with them. And we just had all these grandiose plans. Well, it began when we got off the plane and went to rent a car at Dan Dooley's car rental at the airport. I'm doubting Dan is still in business after we got a hold of one of his vehicles. But that's a whole other side of the story. So my dad had never driven on, and we say this because we're from America, but the wrong side of the road, ever. And, the man, he was up there in his maybe late 60s at the time. And so he wasn't exactly up for learning new things. But for whatever reason, my sister and I thought it would be a great idea to just have him drive anyway, because he was the driver that we had decided on. Well, at the last minute at the airport, by some miracle, I said, you know what, Dad, let me put myself on the car too. In case you get tired, whatever, you should have a backup driver. Should have put my sister on it too, but I didn't. So we did that. We are leaving the airport and there is a massive intersection and he needs to make a left. Now, you'd think this wouldn't be that big of a deal. It was a massive deal. Such a massive deal that there were horns a-blowing, people are screaming. I'm holding on and shutting my eyes because I think this is it. I got to land in Ireland and die here. Somehow, some way, we made it through the intersection. Now, when we finally get to the hotel that we are staying at, which, by the way, right down the street from the airport, it wasn't even a mile away. And we planned this so beautifully that we arrived on the red eye. It's probably like 6:30 in the morning, and we weren't allowed to check until 3. So imagine tourists who now are terrified to drive and stuck in the basically lobby of this hotel for God knows how long. So we get to the hotel, and we're trying to get into the parking lot, and there is a gate down. And my dad just keeps inching up to the gate. And I go, Dad, you're going to break the windshield. We can't get any closer to this gate. And I'm like, this can't be the right gate. And he's like, it's the right gate. Like now everybody's just hating everybody. And it wasn't until I looked to the side out the window and saw this Irish gentleman just shaking his head like no. Shaking. And it was then that I realized, Dad, you're trying to get in the outside. That is why the gate is not rising. And so I rolled down the window and I'm like, sorry, stupid Americans, in this thick accent. He's like, oh, we love you. It was so kind. He was so sweet. But him trying not to laugh his butt off at our misfortune and stupidity was fantastic. So then we go into this hotel and the lady at the desk is laughing. She's like, you're 9 hours early. We don't have anywhere for you to stay. So now we're the homeless people sitting on the couch. And the first thing you see when you walk into this beautiful hotel is these jet-lagged Americans, which nobody needs to witness. So finally I was like, you know what? Let's go explore Dublin, which I was hoping we could walk, but We decided to once again take the car. Dad was still driving at this point, but don't you worry, that didn't last very long. Because as we pulled out of the hotel parking lot, right side of the gate this time, we get onto the main road, and my father is still not driving on the correct side. And Megan and I are screaming, Dad, 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 wrong side, wrong side, wrong side. So then he overcompensates by getting so close on the correct side, that he slams into a mailbox and just keeps going. This wasn't a mailbox that just, Patty O'Connell owned. It was a mailbox like you see that everybody puts their mail into, a massive mailbox. Dad nearly takes the whole thing out. I mean, he sideswiped the heck out of it. We lost the mirror. It was just a mess. It was a mess. And I am screaming for dear life because you have to understand this is my side of the car. I'm like, Dad, stop. Dad, stop. I don't care if you stop in the middle of the road. Just please stop. So at some point, he finally stopped. This stubborn Irish man finally decided that after 2 trips, total of maybe 4 minutes in the car, he was done driving in Ireland, to which everyone was grateful for. Trust me. So he gets out of the car. I get in, and thankfully, my side of the door, the passenger side, still opened after the poor mailbox debacle. And I'm sure a couple people that were walking near the mailbox were saying their prayers and thanking the good Lord above the fact that they were still alive after Tom O'Malley came crashing at them. So then I began driving, and somehow, some way, I was decent at driving on that side of the road, which we were out of options. So that was a good thing. And then we went to a couple other places that we didn't crash into, thankfully. But, the touristy things. We went to the Guinness factory, which was just so cool. But the best part was when we finally stopped driving and we went into a place called Hole in the Wall. We ended up meeting a cab driver in there. And we were like, you know what? We really don't want to drive anymore. I need a little bit of a break, and I'd love to just have a beverage in my motherland. And he's like, well, let's go back to your hotel, and I'll just drive you wherever you want to go. So we drop the car off, and we get into the car with this gentleman who takes us to the coolest places in Dublin, right outside of Dublin. He actually calls his wife and says, I'm just driving around this great American family for the day, and can I just stop in and get some food? He asked us to come to lunch with him. It was just the best day. But this is how friendly people were to us. And again, we nearly took some of them out. So the fact that somebody took pity on us and was like, I would love to show you my town. And he was just so proud of Dublin and living there for as long as he did. And it ended up being just a really great experience, thankfully, because it did not start out that way. Trust me. So the next day, we end up going to Kilkenny, which was absolutely stunning. But we couldn't get to Kilkenny exactly on time that we had planned because one of our tires had decided it had had enough. So then we had to go somewhere and get a brand new tire because I guess there was not a spare in this car. It was like a hot mess from town to town. Something always went sideways, but we still made the most of it. We still had the best trip. We laughed so hard. And I didn't even mention that by day 2, before we even got to Kilkenny, my dad was so bad at being the passenger who was the navigator that he ended up getting fired into the back seat. So now my sister is sitting with me. My dad is in the back, and every single place we went by that was a bar, mind you, we're in Ireland, he kept saying, pub, 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 trying to get us to stop at all these different pubs. And I'm like, Dad, we can't stop at every single bar. We'll never get back to America. I mean, we only have 8 days here. And so he was like, well, this is what it was like to grow up with you two when you'd see a McDonald's or a Dairy Queen or wherever you wanted me to stop when I was your cab driver. And I was like, A, Mom was the cab driver, and B, suck it up. Because if you could drive, you wouldn't be in the back seat. So anyway, we got the tire fixed. We got to Kilkenny, and we had a magnificent time there. One of the places that Dad wanted to go to was the Erin Islands, and there are 3 of them, and only one really doesn't care for tourists. Just guess which one my dad picked. Right, that one. Now, we have to take a plane that is so small, they weigh you before you get on the plane. There's none of this, oh, yeah, I'm 120 on this plane. No, no. They want to see you on that scale, baby, because they need to put you on the right side of the plane to even it out. Have I mentioned that my father and I are deathly afraid of heights? So this was fun to start. But then we get to this island that is apparently completely unfriendly, and they just don't want outsiders there. And we made no friends, but we did, human friends. We made a really nice friend of a working dog who had never, I guess, like done anything except work in its life. And my sister's feeding the dog and petting the dog. And of course, now the dog wants to come back with her instead of working, which I'm sure the farmer totally appreciated. And then there was a donkey that my sister befriended as well. This is my sister. She can make friends with any animal she meets. God bless her. But we stayed there one day and, slept over one night and then left on the plane we had to be weighed on to get back to the mainland. And that was all I needed out of that. We got to travel to where my dad's father grew up, which was so cool, and meet family members we had never met before. And it just was such a great, fun trip with a million memories. And I kid you not, when we got that poor vehicle back to the airport, we pulled up to where it said Dan Dooley's and puttered in, and the thing went poof, poof, poof. And thank God we had full insurance on it, because I am quite sure that car never saw the light of day again. And if we ever tried to rent a car from Dan Dooley's, if he's still in business, they would politely say, no, you're on our do not rent to list. My dad passed in 2021. He had congestive heart failure, and my sister made the awful call to me. It was October 10th, and wow, that crushed me. He was my buddy, and if you still have your dad, please give him a big hug this weekend, like the biggest Father's Day hug from me, because would I love to call him right now and tell him he would love this podcast. He would think it was so cool. And I sometimes still pick up the phone to share my day, and it's so weird not to be able to. And I don't want to make this sad. I don't. But I will say that there is a song by Pink that I want you to hear. It is called When I Get There, because I feel like my dad and Pink's dad, they've met in heaven. They've had to have. And they're probably at a bar right now, just, having a great time. And these are some of the words to this song, which is why I say you have to listen to it. It's beautiful. Is there a bar up there where you've got a favorite chair, where you sit with your friends and talk about the weather? Is there a place you go to watch the sunset? And is there a song you just can't wait to share? I know you'll tell me when I get there, and I know he will. So Dad passed in 2021, like I said, and he had put money aside for my sister and I to take his ashes back to Ireland. And so the following Father's Day, we did. We went to many of the same places we did in 2008 with Dad, and I brought his ashes with me to every single bar, and I had a picture of him on the table that we were sitting at, and I had a Guinness in front of his picture at every bar we went to, and I feel like his spirit was having that with us. And we bought beers for people in the bar and said it was on my dad. And it was just a beautiful trip. And he ended up being buried, his ashes, in the same plot his grandfather is in Ireland. And what was really spectacular is these people, this family that we have there that we met once with my dad, would not let us pay for any of this. And when we were on our way back to the airport, we saw a double rainbow, and it just felt like Dad thanking us both for doing that for him. So wherever you are, Dad, hope I'm still making you proud. So I have suggestions on what you can get Dad for Father's Day, especially if you have a dad that has everything and you want to get him something really unique. Got suggestions I think you're going to love coming up. First, I have a brand new Shinin Bright Spotlight. This is a friend of mine who has found a way, a really unique way, to help kids in Children's Hospital. He's a dad himself, too.
It's time for the Shinin' Bright Spotlight on Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Mike Morgan, how are you?
How are you, Miss Erin O'Malley?
I've never been better. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me here.
Come on, for you, anytime. The Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency podcast. I am right there. You've been a good friend of mine for so many years and such a joy to listen to on the radio, even before I joined working with you at Mix. And to be asked to be on your podcast, heck yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
you do so many good things and you put so much good out in the world. And what's funny is that the most recent thing that I have stumbled across that you're doing is an eating, I don't want to say contest, but it's like people will pay to get you to eat things that you would never normally eat. How did this even come about? Because it is so different. I must hear the story.
All right. Well, those that know me know that I am a picky eater. I eat like a child. I could eat Uncrustables every day, chicken nuggets, French fries, my pizza, eggs, and just do that every day. I do not eat vegetables. I do not eat fruit. I do not eat pork outside of bacon, but it has to be crispy. I do not eat seafood. I don't eat like anything. Okay.
Yes, I might. A little side note: kids, anybody that's trying to stay healthy, do not take any tips from this man.
No,
He is
no.
not going to get you down the healthy road you're looking
Well,
for.
but there's a comeback to that because I had weight loss surgery 6 years ago. I weighed
Yes.
406 pounds. You remember that? I was a mess, and I had weight loss surgery and lost just about 200 pounds. And my doctor, he's like, Mike, you're going to have to change your ways. My year checkup, he comes in, he's shaking his head. He walks in. I said, what's wrong? He goes, you didn't change a thing about you, did you? I said, no, why? He said to me, he goes, listen, he goes, you are like my star patient.
Yeah.
He goes, you've lost all the weight. You did it all. He goes, I can't even use you if I wanted to because 99.9% of the people would fail doing it the way you did it. You didn't change anything. I didn't start eating vegetables, but it was funny how that happened because even to this day, I still eat like a child. So when Corporate Cup for Boston Children's Hospital came up, we do that at Labaki Realty. We have a team every year. And I said, listen, we got to raise a lot of money. And you remember Corinne. So Corinne works for us at Labakia, and she put in she was going to raise $2,000. And I said, oh my God, I can't let her raise more than me. So I had a night where I was a little tired, whatever. I typed in 10,000 and then I committed to it. I said, oh my God, did I commit to 10 grand? And then the next day I'm like, oh no, what did I do? So I went back to my radio mind and said, we need to think of something creative. So I said, people that know me know I eat like a child. So what about if I take a bite of something I don't like for an agreed upon donation to the hospital? We'll call it Make Mike Eat It. And people will donate to the hospital and they will see me suffer. And I'll make it video content. We'll spread it around and see what happens. And I've raised, I think in the past 2 years, I don't know, something like 15,000 or something like that doing it. So it
Wow.
works. It works. So I'm back for my third year doing it. And, like anything else, I've got 30 days to raise money. I put my threshold a little lower. That way I can over deliver. But people will come up now. Listen, it's an agreed upon price. I'm not going to eat octopus for $20. You're like nuts. Okay. Some of the things I've done, and this is going to sound crazy to you. Pepperoni pizza, pepperoni. I did a bite of that for $100. I did a bite of guacamole from a very good restaurant, $250. I almost got sick on their bar. I've done a bite of sushi and a bite of calamari for $800.
Wow.
Yeah, I hold out for the good money, and if someone wants to pay it, then I have to guilt myself into doing it. But if you're not going to pay up for it, come on now, let's be reasonable.
This is a far cry from Survivor when they used to give you a chance to eat brains and that would give you immunity or whatever. You're in such a different category. I mean, sushi, I had that for dinner last night. Yes.
Nope. I did one the other day. One of the admins in my office had a avocado. And as I was talking about it, she's like, wait, avocado. I'm like, no. And she donated and I took a bite of that. And Erin, I'm telling you, if you watch the videos, and you can get the videos, if you want to see the videos, go to mikemorgan.net. You'll see there's a link to donate, but a link to watch videos. I get so nauseous. My eyes water. One of them was on Facebook Live. I came up with this game called Poo Poo Platter Roulette, where the guy at the Chinese restaurant that knows me knows what I like and what I don't. So he put some things I like in there, but then he hid some things that I wouldn't know what they are in the batter. And I went back and forth with my buddy. And at the end, I literally got sick on Facebook Live. Like, they had to move the camera away, but everyone thought it was great. And we raised $3,000.
Well, there you
People
go.
love seeing me suffer. They
It's
love
for the
seeing me
kids.
suffer. It's hashtag for the kids. That's what I always say. And I only do it for this period. Once Corporate Cup is over in July, I will not do it again until next year. People try all the time. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. It is the most horrible time of year for me, but I only do it for the kids. That is the only reason I do it. Is for a children's hospital that we hope you never need, but you're going to be so thankful it's there. My niece has been there, my nephew, my son, so many people we know have been there. One of our patient partners this year is AJ. He's one of our agent's son. Our agent lives in Dalton, Tony, and his son had to come here from Dalton, which is 2.5 hours away. He had a heart transplant, 14 years old, a couple weeks ago. He's one of our patient partners. We have another patient partner, Mia, who's been with us for a few years, young girl, cancer survivor. She still goes through struggles. That's why we do this. We do those for the kids in need. It's not just for medical care. It's things like iPads for the kids, games for the kids, the clothing room they have. If you're an adult and you're in children's hospital and you don't know you're going to be there, well, they have a room you can go get clothes from. They use that money for so much. And Corporate Cup is the way we raise it. It's like adult field day. It's at Harvard University. We do tug of war, ring toss, all that stuff. But that day raises over $1 million for the hospital. So it's feel good, it's fun, but again, with Make Mike Eat It and the donations I get, it makes me suffer, but people seem to enjoy it. So I encourage people, even if you just want to donate $5, $10, it all helps. Go to mikemorgan.net. You can click donate, but then you can watch the videos. It's tax deductible. So I put myself on the line, but we do need to raise money. So every bit helps.
I love the fact that one of the things on your list is pepperoni pizza. I mean, unless you're a vegetarian or vegan, that's kind of a staple to an American diet.
Nah, Erin, I have rules. You can ask me about any food and I will give you the rule or why I won't eat it. It could be like even pizza. The cheese has to be either mozzarella or mozzarella cheddar blend. That is it. Any other cheese is not acceptable.
Who are the male version of Sally in When Harry Met Sally?
I like to think I'm being generous and gracious because I could waste those foods, but I'm saving them for people like you that like them.
Oh,
you're welcome.
You're a giver.
Not all heroes wear capes, Erin. I'm trying to be helpful and just keep with what I eat. Like even eggs. I love scrambled eggs and fried eggs, but I only like the white eggs. I don't like the brown eggs. I don't know why. Okay. My mom went through this with me as a child. I can outlast anybody. If I was a kid and you said, you can't get up until you eat that, I could sit there all night. Okay. I've been like this my whole life. I don't know why. You can ask me about any food and I'll have a rule or I'll have some sort of reason why. Nothing phases me and I'm okay with it.
You know what? It's really great that you are doing this as a fundraiser then, because honestly, you really do suffer with things that most people would never consider a sacrifice to eat.
It makes and I'm not lying. If you watch the videos, you'll see my eyes water, my palms get like clammy.
Oh, I did watch.
Stall. Oh,
and I thought there's no way he's just exaggerating this, but
no.
Come to find out, no, it's just you.
It is all real, and I do not look forward to it, but I have to do it for the kids, and the hospital loves it.
What's the next one, and how do people dare you to do it or donate and say, okay, I will donate this if you do this? How does that work?
Instagram is probably the main one, at DJ Mike Morgan, or you can go to mikemorgan.net. When you go to mikemorgan.net, it's my Linktree page. So there's a contact me button there. If you want to get into food, I'm not really going to do much for less than $100. I've done the bite of pepperoni pizza for $100. It's the worse this food is and the more nauseous I'm going to get, the higher the price tag. You got to come in strong. If you want me, someone asked me the other day about an oyster. I am going to dread this. And I said, I just shot out $2,000 thinking the person would never do that. Oh, no, sure enough, they got their partners out in their office in Dalton. My good friend Mariah out in our Dalton office. She's getting the whole office to chip in. They're going to try to hit $2,000 and I'm going to have to eat this oyster.
Oh, my gosh.
I want to get sick thinking about it. They're slimy and from the ocean and It just,
Ocean.
no, even just thinking about it right now, like, part of me goes, I hope they don't get the $2,000. But then the other part says, no, the hospital needs it. This
Sure.
is the battle I fight. The battle I fight. I got $1,000 to take. Well, I'm sorry. I got $100 up to $1,000 from this guy, Jason Pincombe. I had to take up to 10 bites of a beet. So he had a beet cut up into 10 pieces. And I'm like, oh, well, that kind of looks like hard cranberry sauce. Maybe it won't be so bad. And I love The Office. I'm a fan of Dwight. I got to tell you, I took a bite of that beet. I felt like I was eating dirt, and I was like, and I had to keep drinking down, and I got to $1,000 for the kids, but boy, it was not fun.
Now, it's not just biting it. You actually have to swallow it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one bite. It's one bite because, again, with weight loss, I got a small stomach.
Sure.
And being sick is not something I should do. So it's one bite, and trust me, it's torture for me.
Well, you are a true warrior, my friend. Thank you so much for the sacrifice that you make on a yearly basis for the children. It is well worth it and extremely appreciated. And again, it's mikemorgan.net for the videos, for more info, and to help out and maybe even dare him to eat something that probably you and I would eat for lunch, but Mike would never touch because it's not a chicken nugget.
The event is, oh boy, July 13th. So I'm about 30 something days away. If you go to mikemorgan.net, you can click just donate. You can click to watch videos. I am really happy to do it. I'm just not happy how I'm doing it. But that is how I get the money for the kids. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm sweating thinking about talking about that oyster. So
well, again, you're a trooper, and I appreciate what you are doing for the kids and that you're putting such good out in the world as you always do. So continue that, my friend. I'm honored to know you. You're the best. Thank you so
and the
much.
Feel Good Frequency podcast. I'm so excited for you. I love it. I've never seen you smile as big as you are, and you're doing so much good. The feel good stories. We need more of that in this world. There's so many crazy things every day. And, people want to hear feel good stories. They want to smile. They don't want to be dealing with stress. So I'm so happy for you creating this forum that you have now, and just all the best to you. You're a great person, amazing person. And I think this is going to be huge. So I'm so happy to see you smiling.
Thank you so much. It's so great to see you and to hear what you're doing to help the kiddos. So thank you for all that too. Isn't Mike great? What I found out later was that he actually was given an award by Children's Hospital to thank him for the money that he's raised and for coming up with such a cool way to do it. So congrats again, Mike, and thank you for making the world a better place. All right, so before that, I told you that I was going to give you some ideas of what to give for Father's Day to the dad that has everything. Now, these are absolutely first world gifts. But I'm telling you, they're going to be talking about these gifts to everybody that will listen. First, a towel warmer. Now, anybody can, I know, put the towels in the dryer and have them warm. But then, by the time you're done your shower, they're not toasty anymore. And you got to go get them if you want them to be that toasty. So that's, you're wet and you're running across the floor and maybe downstairs. That's no good. The towel warmer, got it from my sister as anniversary gift, I think it was. Love that thing. And my husband loves it. It is spectacular. All right. And the second thing for Father's Day to get the dad that already has everything, a heated toilet seat. Oh, I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. And that is because I got one for my husband. And he looked at me like, thanks. But the man loves that thing. I mean, will run up the stairs to use it, loving that thing. Your butt being toasty while you have to do your business, there is something pretty spectacular about that. So I'm just saying, if you are looking for something that is not a tie, not your average mug, what have you, those two things, hitting them out of the park. The heated toilet seat, it's the only thing I've ever seen on the Home Depot website that has over 10,000 five-star reviews, I'm sure mostly from men, because it's just that good. So now, he's not upset that I got him the heated toilet seat. I even got an electrician to come in and put in an outlet for the man. So yes, that ended up being one of the better gifts I've ever given. So if you're looking for something out of the box that is not your average gift, those are great last minute ones too. He's going to think you've been planning this for weeks, my friend. So there you go. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much for joining me this week on Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency. I so appreciate your time. If you haven't subscribed, please do it and tell your friends, because this is just turning into such a joy for me and hopefully for you too. I love lifting your spirits and having you here. Have a great week.